Hey, ready to dive in? Looks like you've been digging into the world of monitoring and evaluation officers.
M&E officers.
Yeah, M&E officers for short.
Right.
Those impact detectives making sure projects and programs are actually well impactful.
Hmm.
And honestly, after peeking at the sources you sent over,
Yeah.
including that awesome career guide, I can see why this role caught your eye.
It's a fascinating field, often behind the scenes, but crucial for making a real difference.
Yeah.
Think of it like this. M&E officers provide the evidence that shapes decisions,
Okay.
ensures resources are used effectively, and ultimately helps projects achieve their goals.
Okay, so right off the bat, we're talking about using data to make a real-world impact, not just crunching numbers in a silo.
Right.
You've piqued my curiosity already. But
Hmm.
for someone just starting to explore this career, how would you describe what an M&E officer actually does day to day?
Okay, so picture this. You're handed a jigsaw puzzle, but instead of cardboard pieces, it's data. It could be anything from survey responses and program reports to financial records and performance indicators.
Hmm.
Your job as an M&E officer is to analyze that data, put the pieces together, and reveal the bigger picture.
Okay.
Are the project activities achieving the intended outcomes? Are resources being used efficiently? What's working well and what could be improved?
It's like being a detective, but with spreadsheets and data visualizations instead of magnifying glasses and fingerprints.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just like a detective, a good M&E officer needs sharp analytical skills to sift through the evidence, identify trends, and draw meaningful conclusions.
And those conclusions, they actually have the power to influence real-world decisions.
Yes.
Speaking of which, the sources you mentioned earlier, especially those RoleCatcher excerpts, highlighted how M&E work spans across so many different fields. It's not just one industry or sector, right?
You're spot on. One day, an M&E officer might be evaluating the effectiveness of a public health initiative in a developing country,
Right.
ensuring that vaccines are reaching those who need them most. The next, they could be analyzing the impact of an environmental conservation program, measuring things like deforestation rates or changes in endangered species populations.
That's what I find so fascinating about this role.
Right.
The variety of projects, the potential to work in different sectors, even different parts of the world.
Yeah.
It really seems like a career path where you can carve your own niche based on your passions.
Absolutely. And speaking of carving your own path, the career guide you shared had some really interesting insights on the skills needed to thrive as an M&E officer.
Okay, I'm already intrigued by this whole data detective idea, but I have to ask, what are we talking about when it comes to the actual skills needed to succeed as an M&E officer?
Mm-hmm.
Is it all algorithms and spreadsheets, or is there more to it?
It's definitely more than just being a spreadsheet whiz. While strong analytical and data analysis skills are essential,
Right.
remember we're talking about using data to tell a story,
Okay.
to communicate insights that drive action.
So communication skills are key too.
Absolutely. The career guide actually highlighted a fascinating example of this.
Oh, okay.
There was a case study about an M&E officer working on a rural development project in South America.
Yeah.
They had all this data showing the positive impact of the project.
Right.
Increased crop yields, improved access to clean water, but they weren't seeing the policy changes needed to scale up the project's success.
So they had the data, but not the impact.
Yeah.
What happened?
This M&E officer realized they needed to communicate the findings in a way that resonated with policymakers.
Okay.
So they actually learned some basic graphic design and presented the data using powerful visuals and storytelling techniques.
Wow.
They turned dry statistics into a compelling narrative,
Right.
and guess what? It worked. The policymakers were captivated by the story the data told, and they approved the funding needed to expand the project to other communities.
Wow, that's a perfect example of how impactful communication can be, especially in a field like M&E where you're often trying to translate complex data into actionable insights.
Precisely. Now, beyond communication, the guide also emphasized the importance of strong interpersonal skills for M&E officers.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're not just working with data, you're working with people, project managers, stakeholders,
Yeah,
even the beneficiaries of the programs you're evaluating.
exactly. You need to be able to collaborate effectively, build relationships, and navigate different perspectives. Remember, data collection often involves working directly with people,
Yeah.
conducting interviews, or facilitating focus groups.
So we're talking about someone who's not only comfortable analyzing numbers, but also connecting with people from diverse backgrounds.
Right.
That's quite a unique skill set. And what about the tech side of things?
Yeah.
I know you mentioned GIS earlier.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about how technology plays a role in the world of M&E?
Sure, technology is becoming increasingly vital in M&E.
Okay.
You'll definitely need a strong grasp of tools like Excel for data management and analysis. And SPSS is often used for more advanced statistical analysis.
For those who aren't familiar,
Right.
SPSS is statistical software that allows you to crunch larger data sets and run more complex analyses than you could in a basic spreadsheet program.
Right. And then you have GIS or Geographic Information Systems,
Yes.
which is especially useful for visualizing data geographically.
Right.
Remember that career guide example we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
The one where the M&E officer used compelling visuals to advocate for policy changes?
Right.
That's a perfect example of GIS in action.
Okay.
Imagine being able to create maps that show the exact locations where a program is having the greatest impact,
Right.
or visualizing the spread of a disease outbreak to inform targeted interventions.
Like you said earlier, you're putting together the pieces of a puzzle.
Yeah,
But in this case, you're adding a whole new dimension with geographic data.
exactly.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp on the day-to-day tasks,
Yeah.
the impactful communication, the people skills, and the technology involved.
Mm.
What about the career path itself?
Okay.
What can someone who's interested in M&E expect in terms of growth and advancement opportunities?
Well, the career guide provided a really helpful breakdown of typical career stages in M&E.
Okay.
And what's fascinating here is that there's a clear progression from entry-level positions all the way up to senior leadership roles.
Okay, so we've uncovered the power of data storytelling, the importance of people skills, and the growing role of technology like GIS in the world of M&E.
Right.
But what about the career path itself? What can someone who's interested in M&E expect in terms of growth and advancement opportunities?
Well, the career guide provided a really helpful breakdown of typical career stages in M&E. And what's fascinating here is that there's a clear progression from entry-level positions all the way up to senior leadership roles.
Yeah, so you're not just stuck in an entry-level role forever.
Right.
There's room to grow and take on more responsibility over time.
Absolutely. You might start as a junior M&E officer focusing on data collection, entry, and cleaning, really getting to grips with the foundation of M&E work. As you gain experience, you can move into roles like M&E officer or even senior M&E officer, where you're leading evaluations, designing M&E frameworks, and providing strategic guidance to projects and programs.
The guide actually shared some inspiring profiles of senior M&E professionals.
Yeah.
I was particularly impressed by the one who managed a global team evaluating the impact of a major health intervention. They had a PhD and years of experience in the field.
Wow.
It really highlighted the level of expertise one can reach in this line of work.
I remember that profile. They were using data to literally save lives on a global scale. And that's the exciting part about an M&E career path. The growth potential is tremendous.
Right.
As you gain experience, you can specialize in a particular sector, like global health or environmental sustainability, or even focus on a specific aspect of M&E, such as impact evaluation or data visualization.
So if you're passionate about a certain cause, you could potentially align your M&E career with that passion and really contribute to something you believe in.
Exactly. And speaking of boosting your expertise, the guide also touched upon the value of professional certifications.
Yes.
You had mentioned the Certified Monitoring and Evaluation Professional, or CMAP, credential earlier.
Right. It's like a stamp of approval showing employers that you have a solid understanding of M&E principles and best practices.
It's a fantastic way to demonstrate your commitment to the field and enhance your credibility. Think of it as a signal to potential employers that you're serious about your professional development and staying up to date with the latest advancements in M&E.
That makes a lot of sense, especially in a field like M&E, which is constantly evolving with new technologies and approaches.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground, from the essential skills and career progression to the importance of certifications.
We have.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, let's talk about actually landing that dream M&E job.
Okay.
I know the RoleCatcher resources you shared included some helpful interview tips. Any nuggets of wisdom you'd like to highlight?
Well, remember that M&E is all about connecting the dots between data and real-world impact. In an interview setting, it's crucial to showcase your ability to do just that.
Okay.
Don't just list your technical skills, bring them to life with concrete examples from your past experiences.
So instead of just saying, I'm proficient in SPSS,
Right.
you could talk about a time when you used SPSS to analyze a large data set, identify a key trend, and present your findings in a clear and compelling way.
Exactly. Prepare for those classic, tell me about a time when questions. Have a few stories ready that demonstrate your analytical thinking, your problem-solving abilities, and your communication skills in an M&E context.
And it's not just about what you say, but how you say it right.
Right.
You mentioned earlier how important communication is for M&E professionals.
Yes.
I imagine that's even more crucial during an interview.
Absolutely. Practice articulating your thoughts clearly and concisely.
Okay.
Be enthusiastic, show your passion for M&E, and don't be afraid to let your personality shine through.
Right.
Remember, you're not just trying to impress them with your technical skills. You're also trying to show them that you'd be a great addition to their team.
That's such a valuable point.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's about finding the right fit. And who knows, maybe this deep dive has sparked that initial interest.
Yeah.
That first step toward an exciting and fulfilling career in the world of monitoring and evaluation. So to all our listeners out there, if you're drawn to the power of data, driven by the desire to make a difference, and intrigued by the idea of becoming an impact detective, well, a career in M&E might just be your perfect match.